Former National Security Advisor Michael Flynn, center, flanked by Kellyanne Conway and Jared Kushner, attends a news conference at the White House in Washington in February. Jim Loscalzo, European press photo agency. Former National Security Advisor Michael T. Flynn seems to be at the center of just about every Russia scandal story these days. We learned this week about a new conflict of interest. Private sector backers of a controversial Middle East nuclear power plan worked with former National Security Advisor Mike Flynn to promote it inside the White House, to the point of sending him a draft memo for the president to sign authorizing the project. This issue was a proposal to build dozens of nuclear reactors, built by its backers as a Marshall Plan for the Middle East. Before joining the White House, Mr. Flynn, a retired lieutenant general, had advised some of the U.S. companies involved in the plan in his capacity as a consultant. In White House disclosure forms, Mr. Flynn noted his relationship with two of the companies involved in the project but didn't reveal any payments. He later amended those forms, saying a third company paid him more than $5,000. He said his relationship with the companies ended in December 2016. Flynn was also in the news with regard to a postponed trip to speak to a grand jury. Special counsel Robert Mueller's team has postponed an anticipated grand jury testimony linked to his investigation into Michael Flynn amid growing indications of possible plea deal discussions. CNN reported. Additional witnesses were expected to be questioned soon, including a public relations consultant hired by Flynn's lobbying firm who was given an early December date deadline to appear before the grand jury, according to a person at the company. Ahead of the delay, the impression was that the testimony needed to happen soon, the source said. In addition, The Wall Street Journal reports Jared Kushner, senior White House advisor and President Donald Trump's son-in-law, was interviewed this month by special counsel Robert Mueller's team as it investigates whether Trump associates colluded in Russia's efforts to interfere in the 2016 U.S. election, said a person familiar with the matter. The Mueller team's questions to Mr. Kushner focused on the activities of former National Security Advisor Mike Flynn, the person said, as it probes Mr. Flynn's ties to Turkey and Russia. The meeting, Mr. Kushner's first known interview with the special counsel's team, lasted less than an hour, the person said. Abby Lowell, a lawyer for Mr. Kushner, said in a statement, Mr. Kushner has voluntarily cooperated with all relevant inquiries and will continue to do so. The short duration of the meeting, and its exclusive focus on Mr. Flynn, could mean Mr. Mueller will want to interview Mr. Kushner again. We don't know if Kushner was providing information on Flynn, or if Flynn has been providing information on Kushner. Perhaps it's both. Kushner, you will recall, egged on the president to fire former FBI Director James B. Comey, who the president fretted was not going to abandon the Russia probe. There are several conclusions one can draw from these accounts. First, Mueller likely has a wealth of incriminating information on Flynn that could substantiate a meaty indictment. Public discussion of the potential charges serves to put pressure on Flynn, which in turn raises the legal threat level against Trump, Kushner and Donald Trump Jr. Second, with so many potential charges against Flynn, he's not going to get off easily, at least not without possibly implicating higher-ups, including Trump. Third, the more serious the potential charges against Flynn, the more problematic would be Trump's efforts to get Comey to lay off the investigation. It stands to reason that there must have been a very substantial reason for Trump's request, such as Flynn's possession of incriminating information on the president. Finally, Trump is kidding himself if he thinks this won't carry over into 2018. It sounds as though Mueller is only beginning the process of leveraging one Trump official against another.